Hello viewers, and welcome to a bit more iRacing. I'm just jumping in with my triple screen, still getting them set up on everything. Now my field of view isn't ideal at the moment. I'm still trying to find the right balance. I actually prefer the field of view to be a little bit further back in the car than all the way forward. I find sometimes it gives me a funny feeling of motion when you have it. So for example, the mirrors would be in the two side TVs, if you like, while you'd have the main view in the front. And though it's more equal to full size, it does give me a strange feeling of movement. Either way, I'm racing here in the Star Mazda. I say racing, having just a practice session around Road America in the Star Mazda. I've been meaning to do this for some time. Neil, unfortunately, is still unable to get online at the moment. He's moved house recently and trying to arrange an online connection for him to get back online and racing with you guys and continuing on his blogs. They will be moving forward quite a bit. We're going to be racing through a few of those races. Obviously he's been on the Mazda for a little while now, and we want to get him catch up more to where he is in present day. He hasn't done a race for a few weeks because we've wanted to catch up on where he is, and we'll get to that in time. Of course, he's been driving the rough constantly. He absolutely loves that car. I think if he could just live in that car for the rest of his time in iRacing, I don't think he'd ever get bored, and that really bodes well for the future of iRacing as well. Road America, I like this circuit. It's one of my favourite circuits. I just like the flow of the course, though every version is slightly different. This is slightly different to other versions I've played. And obviously I'm on my first lap here. That means getting a bit of tyre temperature. You're kind of almost coasting some of the corners on this first lap, just being patient. I'm not in the slightest bit patient. No, I try to push from the off, and the car just moves around horribly. You're sort of gliding it round rather than being able to actually drive it and manhandle it. iRacing has some good options when it comes to the bezel correction, and it also has options to alter the angle of the monitors. I did again alter the angle of the monitors, but then reverted it back to 0 because actually I felt more comfortable with it on 0 than with the angle implemented. The angle implemented again gave me a strange feeling of motion. So that's one thing about getting used to the whole triple screens. You do need to, some games more than others, you know, some sims you need to, it takes a bit of getting used to the width of the car and the feel for it and how it bends slightly if the screens aren't flat across. Might be better if you've actually just got 3 monitors in a flat configuration rather than with the slightly sort of bent configuration I have in terms of the 40-degree monitors. I believe they're 40 degrees. I don't have a protractor to test it, but something like that. So getting into the corners more, the car understeers quite a bit for me. Road America on this version, which is the version, it has slightly later apexes on quite a few of the corners than I was remembering, so it takes a bit of time just to get into those and find the sweet spot. A couple of these corners I'm going through, perhaps backing out the power a bit too quickly and losing the rear end. So again, this is just a practice session. You're going to see me spinning out and seeing what gears I can take corners in. I mean, that's the one thing about iRacing, is that you don't just jump in it and do it right away. It takes a lot of practice, it takes a lot of laps. You learn what gears you can go around corners, what gears are fast, what gears are consistent, what cornering techniques will be consistent for the races. You know, this isn't about just doing one lap. This is about lap after lap, nice consistent driving, and knowing where you can put in those times, yet not be so far off the edge that you're going to crash out at any moment. That final corner is horribly slow. Then you have to wait to get on the power before it's straight, struggling through the gear as you go up that hill, and then it all opens out for you. Now I'm doing this track. I did a Road America video on Forza 5 a few weeks ago, which is again a very nice version of Road America. Obviously this is the fully scanned version. Some people say, well, Forza 5 was scanned. It was scanned, but we talk about laser scanning, and it was put to Dan Greenwald. So the circuits, have they been laser scanned? And he said no, they haven't been laser scanned. They used another type of scanning technology. Interesting. Certainly it's not laser scanning. It wasn't underlined that it was on Forza. So certainly The iRacing version looks great. Now, obviously, I've not had the time to play so many of these games and sims recently, simply because we've been an autosport. We've set this rig up. We've got a lot going on behind the scenes, planning what we're going to be doing, and I'm spread thinly over a whole number of different games. So I have maybe 2 hours a week to play iRacing. That's it for the whole week. And if I don't get the iRacing session in, then it doesn't happen, you know, and that's kind of how you split. Each game has maybe between 1 and 2 hours a week, and so what I'm going to be doing is cutting down the amount of different titles I play, and focusing more on just perhaps 3 or 4 core titles, of which iRacing will be one of them. So I'm hoping, touch wood, to start my iRacing career again next week. That will continue from where it was before, and basically back in the MX-5. I want to get out of the MX-5 as quickly as possible. I will find it quite boring going back to it. I don't want to hang around in a Skippy. I would like to get into one of these Star Mazda cars as soon as possible. Though judging by the iRacing career system, it will probably take me several months. So I'll try to make my journey as exciting as possible for all of you to enjoy. As you're seeing the GoPro cam, I've switched between the 2 views in this video. That's my mouse falling on the floor. Doesn't matter. Sometimes a bit of vibration goes through the rig and it knocks my mouse onto the floor. So as we're racing on again. And in the bottom corner there you can see the PC there as well, with the 2 GTX 780s that are powering it. I've toned down the graphics ever so slightly on this video, just to really maximise the frame rate. It's not as smooth in triple screens for me as it is in the single screen, whatever the settings at the moment. So it is interesting how different games work differently on the graphic settings, and so I'm settling into it more and more. You'll have noticed I'm struggling with turn 1. I'm always understeering through turn 1. I've just not quite got it right. Again, it just needs a bit more time. But all these are about finding your braking marker. Once you find a consistent braking marker, you go past that point, hit the brakes, and you hit the corner pretty much perfectly every time. It's just a memory test, and so you just need to find out where that is. I'm trying different cornering techniques there to try going into the corner later. Again here, aiming for a late apex there rather than early into the apex, and you can find you can get on the power much quicker. This is downhill braking, and again you can see the wheel locking up there for me. I'm having a lot of problems with lockups, and so that's affecting my braking distances. I have changed the pedal, as I always do on this. Oh, having to slow down for cutting the corner, that was a shame. And again there, when shifting up a gear, just waiting for the car to get in where I want it before it opens up, otherwise I'm just going to fall straight off the circuit. And every time I do this corner, it's a high-speed corner, but I'm lifting for a little bit less every time. Probably you'll be able to do it flat when you know exactly the line, but and again here, wanted to get in nice and early. There it is, that's the apex there, and there was more speed to cover through that corner, so definitely I could go quicker. Again here, get on the power nice and early when that opens up for you. You get a lot more understeer when you're just up in fourth. Changes the drivability of the car, so gear selection is key. We go around for another lap of practice, but I just wanted to share a bit of practice with you this week while Neil was away, and he'll be coming back pretty soon and carrying on with his career. I'll have a bit of my career. If you haven't played iRacing before, we do have an offer in the description, which is if you buy a month you get 2 months, additional months free. And certainly again, do you see turn 1 I was mentioning earlier? It's just trying to find a way to cover more speed, but I've not just found the line through it yet. So I was going quicker that time, just went wide. All those frustrating things when you know there's another couple of tenths to be found in there, but you just can't quite get the line right, which sends you into the apex, which again is slightly later in the corner. And that's simply because this version of the circuit is different to some other ones I will have played in the past, which would have let you drive the apexes slightly differently. Again, that corner feels so slow. But it's finding that consistent line. So that's it, yeah. So iRacing, if you've not played it, do check it out. It's worth getting on there. Certainly people often ask my opinion, and I say, in terms of online racing, you can't beat it. It's the best thing for online racing. It really does feel real when you're in a race, and epic when you win one as well. Certainly, there's a certain relief when you have a podium position. You really feel like you've earned it. And there's no other racing simulation that can do that for me in quite the same way as iRacing, simply because of the structure that they've established online with it. So it is worth checking out if you get into PC gaming. So lots more iRacing to come on the channel, along with everything else that we cover all the time. But I will be focusing on some core titles. I will be focusing more on this. If you have any questions, always feel free to put them to me, and there'll be more from me very soon.